Let's go back to some of the mentorship and whatnot. You talked about how you're working with the Geneva team and whatnot. What about locally? I mean, are you still involved with the London Knights? Tell us about that.
I go out there. Yeah, obviously Dale was my coach and Dylan was my teammate and Rick Stedman were my teammates. So last year when I got back, I moved here from Hong Kong. I was out there quite a bit just on a voluntary basis, and just it was nice to get on the ice with that high level players. I mean, obviously they won the Mem Cup last year. They had some super high end guys with Barkey, Cowan, O'Reilly, Dickinson. There was a ton of awesome players. So it was nice to get out there and just work with them with some shooting stuff and whatever advice I could give them and be around. This year, just getting kicked off now. I've been super busy, but I just go out there on it, to be out there and be a support for the players this year. And then also there's the Owen Sound have reached out, Owen Sound Attack. So I might be, likely going to be doing stuff with them with skills, power play, and working with them on more of a job basis. So I love doing the video stuff and the development and being a mentor. Big for me, the offensive side of the game always came natural, and I luckily have the ability to articulate that and what it takes to do that. And I can do it through video and also through, Zoom calls and communication. So I enjoy that piece and giving people and players nuggets, watch them go do it and make it their own. And, that part of it's so much fun for me.
Was that something that came to you as a thought after retirement or towards retirement where you thought, started thinking about what you're going to do after?
I just had a light bulb moment when I shut it down, what the game needed. And, it's not that it's proprietary, but I knew that the personalized video was something that definitely didn't exist in a scale basis. There's Oatsy, Adam Oates and Belfry. I know they're in the space for a while. They're on kind of an exclusive and sort of high-end guys. And the big thing for me too was like my last year playing in Red Bull. I remember being on the bus and chirping the guys. Like they would open up their laptop and watch YouTube videos on like Fortnite or whatever they're playing, Call of Duty. Then they'd pull up their system and do it. And I'm like, you guys realize you can do the same with your game, right? And they're shut up. I'm like, okay, whatever. Then after I thought about that, I was like, that is true though. Like a lot of, that doesn't need to be just high level players. Like you're talking 14, 15, 16-year-olds. We have Live Barn in every rink now. Why don't it would just be beneficial to have a high level mind inserting and watching those shifts and teaching. So what I did from there was I created this company, 44 Vision Hockey, and I gathered 32 coaches together. And a big piece of it too was what my mind went to. I have a big appreciation for the women's game. I thought we should get some high level girls to give back to the game. And also the women don't really have that revenue like we do in the boys side. I wanted them to make money and be compensated for their brilliance and what they do in the game. So I had 8 Olympic team member women's on there to coach. That being said, I collected all this and then COVID hit and all the rink shut down. It kind of.
But it almost seems like you're ahead of the curve because that's kind of where the game went with COVID was a lot of online coaching. So you kind of feel like you got sniped on that one a bit?
Yeah, it seems to be the par for the course for me in a lot of ways in this game. I seem to be early on a lot of stuff, and it comes to fruition later on. So yeah, and like I said, it wasn't proprietary back then, but now you just see it all over. There's 5 college kids that are together as a team and doing video coaching, or 10 or whatever. There's a lot of different people that are getting together as groups. That the group thing didn't really exist back then. So I was excited to launch it, but once the rink shut down. You get 4, 5, 6 months into that kind of stuff. You got all those high level people. They got other stuff to do. So, unfortunately, it just didn't pan out. And I was living in Latvia at the time. So it was also tough being in a different time zone and not really having anything to do with the group. So the video stuff has been a passion piece of mine for a long time. And for me, with the new diagramming and the ability to articulate through diagramming, and, I got this one software, Sport Clip Draw. You can pause the clip and then make the play, like draw the clip, drag the players, put delays in it. You can pretty much produce, you're basically a producer, so to speak, but you're putting your brain into that clip and showing the player the different route like that. That's a lot of fun to me. And it's super impactful for the players. So that's something I have a lot of passion about. The other thing too, is when you're working with, teenage boys and even young men, like there's always the ego and the fight back. When you grab a clip and you insert this information, there's no this excuse you get a lot is, oh, my coach said, or my last coach, or this is that. There's always something to push back. there's no pushback with video because it's pretty direct.
Well, I think you're kind of bridging the gap when you said, treating it almost like a video game, the way they kind of, look at models about how do I get better at this video game. You're kind of bridging that gap. And I'm curious well, I'm surprised actually that there's still the amount of pushback when you're putting it on a level that they would understand.
Yeah, that's just ego. I had an ego at one time too. So there's always pushback. There's always friction. But once they start to trust you and realize that you're only there, I always tell the guys that I work with, I'm like your big brother. That's it. Like, I'm not your coach. I'm not the police. Like, you're not in trouble. It's always like a mentorship. And, when I give you something, I see you going down the wrong way of a one-way road, and I'm going to tell you to turn around. If you don't want to, like, you can keep going down that path. I just suggest you get off that road. So it's, I find ways to break through and get that trust with the players. And then it's more of a friendship than, but the beginning is always friction. It's always pushback and,
It's
ego.
funny. A lot of the guys that we've talked to over the course of this series point out a lot of the differences between the players now and then the players when they were that age. And you seem to draw more parallels towards the similarities as far as these players. Is there a reason for that?
I don't really know. I don't know how to answer that, to be honest with you.
I think maybe you see it at a different level. I mean, you're looking at these guys as young hockey players, because I think one of the biggest differences is the culture of a lot of these young guys coming up. I mean, they're not heading out to the bar anymore together. They're staying in their rooms and they're playing hours and hours of Fortnite, like you said. And I think that's one of the big differences. But when it comes right down to it, they're still teenage boys or young men, like you said, who are focused on hockey first and foremost. And that's where you find the similarities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the game is it's the same, right? The nets are in the same place, the dimensions are the same. So we're doing the same thing. And a lot of the game is all about math and angles and routes. So it's the same. And whether their personality changes, it has changed a lot. A lot more information now. They're getting a lot more information in general to their daily basis, and so are we. Obviously Instagram reels and these kind of things didn't exist when I was 17, 18. There's more information coming through these kids, so they're more hungry for information. And back in our time, pushback would or asking for more feedback would almost be met with shut your mouth and do what you're told. Now it's more like in my opinion, like, you should be able to, if there's a little, it's for the player side of it, it's about how you present it too. If you're going to present it to me, even as your mentor, like, you're pushing back on me and you're pushing me into a corner, like I don't know what I'm talking about, that's going to bother me. And I'm going to have a bad reaction to that. But if you genuinely ask in the proper way, tone and words matter, and you say it in a way where I'm like, yeah, this kid's curious, I'll go to the end of the world explaining it to you. And I'm happy to do that. So that's important too, how you're presenting it. But I feel like you should be able to, if you know what you're talking about and you're confident in your knowledge, you should be able to, again, go to the depths with this player. A lot of times I get caught going way too far with how much I explain. Like, I can, you can see the player or the person being like, okay, I got it. You sure? I had about 5 more minutes worth of talking, I can tell you. But I'm confident in that. And I think that's important. You kind of give all the information and the whys and the whats for this stuff if you want to have an impact on someone.
Hey, more hockey content. It's might be old, it might be new, it might be a full episode, it might be a half episode, but you can click these boxes because who doesn't like clicking boxes?